بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين إلى يوم الدين أما بعد وإنه في الكتاب لدينا لعلي حكيم. This book is a book which is exalted. This explains the virtue and the elevation of the book of Allah, the kalam of Allah. So making the niyyah how this Quran is elevated, Allah should elevate me in both the worlds. Every verse is more powerful than the universe. So Quran has the potential. The question is, are we drawing from this potential? And how much a'mal are we making on Quran? How much tabligh are we making? Abdullah ibn Masood used to say, Inna sa'uba alayna hifdhul alfadhil Qur'an, that memorizing the words of the Quran may have been difficult for us, وَسَهَّلَ لَنَا الْعَمَلْ بِهِ, but making amal was easy for us. وَسَهَّلَ عَلَيْنَا الْعَمَلْ بِهِ. وَإِنَّا, but the people after us, hifz of the Quran was made easy for them. وَيَسْعُبْ عَلَيْهِمْ الْعَمَلْ بِهِ, but making amal was difficult for them, referring to us. We maybe memorize the words, we don't practice on the Quran. So making tilawat of Quran as well, the anwarat, the nur, the tajalli is there, but coupled with that we need to be checking how much of amal and practice do we have in our lives. Hasan Basri rahimahullah used to say, Inna min sharri nasi aqwaman, the worst of people are those qara'u al-Qur'an la ya'amaluna bi sunnati. They read the Quran but they don't practice on it. وَلَا يَتَّبِعُونَ لِطَرِيقَتِهِ, don't follow the ways, the guidance, the guidelines of Quran. أُولَٰئِكَ يَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَلْعَنُهُمُ اللَّاعِنُونَ, the curse of Allah on them. So practice is very important, and shaitan will put these barriers. Most of it is حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا رَأْسُ كُلِّ خَطِيئَةٍ. The love of the dunya is a barrier between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why Uthman radhiyallahu anhu used to say, Man taraka dunya ahabbahu Allah. When you leave dunya, when your entertainment, your luxuries, you don't love to eat, or you eat to love, which one? So a person abandons dunya means his heart abandons the love of the dunya. You can have a lot of dunya, but you cannot love any dunya. That's the difference. Secondly, he used to say, وَمَنْ تَرَكَ الذُّنُوبَ أَحَبَّهُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ, and whoever leaves sinning, he becomes beloved by the farishtas. But remember, even the farishtas are writing gunas, but a person commits a guna, how much do we tire even the malaika to write down our gunas? We did good deeds, how happy the farishtas will become. وَمَنْ حَسَمَ الطَّمَعَ عَنِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and whoever are not desirous of what the Muslimin have, أَحَبَّهُ الْمُسْلِمُونَ, then the Muslims will love him. The Thanwi used to say something ajib with regards to dunya, that earning dunya is not haram, but love of dunya is haram. To earn money is not haram, but to become engrossed in it is haram. And he used to say that if milk, ghee, etc. is not eaten, then the mind will be affected, resulting that the person not able to do any work. Means if you don't have a good diet, a healthy diet, then that will affect your performance. If the mind is not nurtured and protected, then a person not be able to fulfill the tasks. Feed the nafs means there's nothing wrong with eating, there's nothing wrong with sleeping, there's nothing wrong with eating wholesome food, there's nothing wrong with going out within the parameters of Sharia. So I used to say, feed the nafs and take civil work from it. the nafs is an employee and the mind is a governmental machine. If it gets paid and fed regularly, then the repairs will take place, the maintenance will take place, and it will keep on functioning. So وَلِجَسِدِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقًّا, and al-mu'minu al-qawi, a strong believer, and your body has a right over you. So if a person keeps this in mind, then a person will be productive. So sometimes we make ghulu in everything, every aspect. So deen needs a balanced mindset, and that's where Quran and Hadith come in to regulate ourselves, to do everything within the parameters of deen. So many things are mubah, are permissible, and that is because it is within the parameters. Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, in his story, the brothers asked the father permission, nastabiq, can we go out? So the mufassirin have gone in detail, is it permissible to go for an outing, etc., and it will boil down to the same point, is within the parameters of Sharia, where there's no room for compromise or risk on your iman, on your deen, even on your dunya. Shouldn't go into places where there is possible destruction or harm. So we need to be introspecting. For example, parents nowadays say that we had a hard life and we never had this here and we struggled. So let's give our children everything they want and carte blanche, give them all the luxuries of dunya, enjoyments, etc. And the child gets spoiled when the tree grows crooked. Then afterwards, it's too late. It is too late. So we think so we're doing good, we spend in our children, we spend in our family, but we causing more harm. It was like a traffic cop in a small town who stopped a motorist who was speeding. So he said, I can explain, officer, please. He said, save your excuses. You can cool your heels in the jail when the chief get back. So he said, please, officer, just hear me out. He said, keep quiet, you're going to jail, and the chief will deal with you when you get back. So a few hours later, the officer looked in the prison cell. He came to greet him and he said, you know what, let me tell you something, I got some good news. What good news? He said, lucky for you, the chief's daughter's wedding today, and the chief's at the wedding, so it means that he will be in a good mood when he gets back, so maybe you'll get it light. So the prisoner bichara said, don't count on it, I am the groom, you're gonna get it hard. So sometimes we think so we're in the parameters, but we don't know ma sabaqa, the siyaq and sibaq. We don't know the entire story, and our story of life is very important. And that's why we need to take our time to learn Quran, go to the Ahlul Quran, Ahlul Ilm, Ulama Rabbaniyin, spend time in the company of those people who have found Allah, a person that you meet and remind you of Allah. So those are the people that we need to be spending time. A person who's climbed Everest can tell you how to climb Everest. Somebody who's done it already will show you the way. Maulana Sayyid Khan say that the Western system is darkness, they are blind, and we're looking for guidance, we are blind. So a blind man holding a blind man's hand for direction, that's blindness. Fi dhulumatin, darkness upon darkness. Fi bahrin lujjiyin, darkness upon darkness upon darkness. So value this Quran, but value this Quran is everything that it comes with, to draw a complete benefit from Quran. I'm making tilawat, have I made hifz of the important surah? Am I reading it in tahajjud salah? Am I reading long rakats? Is all my namazes only about the shortest surahs, Alam Tara downwards? And you want the fastest Taraweeh, Mufti Ferrari in Taraweeh. So what's the purpose of that Taraweeh? What's the purpose of that recital? So where are we going? In which direction are we going? Have we really understood our purpose of life? our sujood and ruku are only 3 tasbeehs and sometimes 1 tasbeeh. That all our salah is about. So which direction am I going? We need to introspect. So Quran is something that we should be proud about. So then the ma'ani of the Quran, the tafsir of the Quran, the fiqh of the Quran, the masail of the Quran, there's so many aspects. A hadith explaining Quran, the shara of Quran is hadith. So la hasada illa ala ithnain, that hasad, jealousy, is permitted except in 2 conditions. It is not permitted except in 2 conditions. What are these 2 circumstances? رَجُلٌ آتَاهُ اللَّهُ الْقُرْآنَ فَهُوَ يَقُومُ بِهِ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ وَآنَاءَ النَّهَارِ. A person whom Allah blesses with tilawat of Quran and he remains engaged day and night. He remains engaged in it day and night. وَرَجُلٌ آتَاهُ اللَّهُ مَالًا and wealth فَهُوَ يُنْفِقُ مِنْهُ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ وَآنَاءَ النَّهَارِ. He spends it day and night. So one is Quran and one is wealth. Imagine wealth, which we just spoke about now, which is supposed to be madhmoom, but yeah, it's praise. You can, Allah has given somebody wealth and they're using it in the right avenues. You should be jealous about these people, that how come the wealth which Allah has given me, I'm not using it in the right avenues. And look at the comparisons between the 2, Quran and wealth. So Quran is a wealth, it's on its own. And some people are fortunate, they've been given the Quran and they've been given wealth and they're fulfilling the haqq of these 2 year. So and the scholars have gone into detail about jealousy and the different forms and whatever else it is, but it's as if saying that if you had to envy anybody on earth, it is the one who's utilizing his time properly for Quran and using his wealth properly for deen. So that's the power of the Quran, and we need to learn to value this Quran. We find it in Tariq, in history as well. If we look at Aurangzeb, in Persian it means ornament of the throne. He was Muhyiddin Muhammad. That was his real name, 1618 to 1707. And he was given the title of Alamgiri, which was translated as the conqueror of the world. He was the 6th emperor of the Mughal Empire, ruling from 1658 until 1707. And under his leadership, with Allah's permission, they reached the Mughal Empire reached the climax of territories, and it covered the entire Indian subcontinent. And remember, we're talking about the subcontinent in those days, not the current India. And he designated scholars, and a book was compiled, Fatawa Alamgiri, which Islamic law, Islamic economics, which it's established, came across a standard for Shariat. And he was very particular about deen and enforcing Islamic law. And at that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it possible that the Mughals surpassed even the Chinese dynasty as the world's largest economy and the biggest manufacturing power. So like today, if we had to say the US is the #1 superpower, the Mughal military also was one of the strongest armies in the world. And he dedicated his life to deen, to constructing masajid, a lot of work in Arabic and Arabic calligraphy. And it is said that he was also a Hafiz of the Qur'an, and he was a Qari as well. and he was a good scribe. He could write a Arabic text. He was a good scribe in Quranic script. And his routine was he would write a portion of the Quran every day, with seeing to the affairs of running this vast kingdom. And he wrote many manuscripts by hand, and he would earn his sustenance from the handwritten copies of the Quran, and he would sew topis. And he passed away at the age of around 88 years old. And his desire was to pass away on the Jumu'ah, which Allah gave him a death on a Jumu'ah. And on the last moments of his life, he was in severe pain, but he still performed all this salah with jama'ah, including his last salah of his life, salat with jama'ah. He was very particular about his daily adhkar, and while he was passing away as well, he made sure that he completed his adhkar. And while he was busy, he fell unconscious, and he was reciting the kalima tayyiba, and the sound of the kalima was emanating from his mouth with his finger raised to the heavens, and he passed away on the day of Jumu'ah, like this year. So Hafiz Qari, king. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had honored him, and this is the power of the Quran, where a person is chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah had given him wealth, and Allah had given him the Quran, and both were allocated its haqq. And he made a wasiyah, a bequeath, before he passed away, that firstly I should be buried next to Hazrat Sheikh Chisti, so that I can draw some spiritual blessing from him and be saved from the evil effects of my sins. Subhanallah, ajib wasiyah. Then he said that all his money should be collected, which was sewing topis, and that was left with his ahliya, his wife. So he said, fetch it and use it for my kafan, and the money that I use from writing the Quran should be spent on the poor when I pass away. Why? Because I have doubt that the money I made from the Quran, because it was Quran and I'm selling Quran, I have doubt in it, so it should not be spent on my kafan whatsoever. There's a shortage, then take it from the wakil of the king. He is the closest relative from all the heirs, and it is responsibility to make sure that halal, the best, purest income is used. I will be dead and I will be in the hands of the living, so make sure halal rizq is used. What ajib fiqh and understanding, and what fikr he had. Then he made a wasiyah as well, that I should be buried bareheaded, because I am a great sinner, and if I enter the court of Allah bareheaded, I have hopeful of the mercy of Allah. So again, his tawazu and his humbleness. And lastly, throw a sack of cloth over my kafan, and abstain from all innovations which is done for the rich and famous. Innovations are done with them. Make sure no innovations are done here. So a king with light and nur. This reminds us of a story of a king who had been seeking a replacement for him, and he made mashwara and said, who is appropriate from the entire kingdom? And they said, your 3 sons. So all the committee were unanimous that it should be the 3 sons. So they said, okay, let's go with the eldest. He asked the eldest, he said, you know what, I'm not eligible, rather give it to another brother. He went to the youngest of the brothers, and he said as well, I'm not eligible, go to the second. So all of them refused. So he again asked his advisors what should be done. And they said they came up with a task. So the task was that he gave each of his son a room and asked them to fill it with something which would help the kingdom. After 6 months, he went to the first son, and when he opened the room, it was filled with grains. He asked the prince, "What's this for?" He said that we have droughts in our kingdom. This will help people from starvation. Then he went to the second prince, and he found the room filled with cotton, and he said that cotton is such it can be compressed, so it will fit a lot more in the space. In the winters, people suffer and they die. So I want to provide enough clothing, blankets, etc. for the people. So likewise, the king was happy. Then he went to the last prince and he entered the room, the youngest. He found it empty with a small candle burning in the center of the room. So the king was shocked and he said, "You didn't fill the room with anything?" He said, "No, it's full." He said, "What?" He said, the light of this candle has filled every corner of this room, whether it's day or night. So my objective is to work hard enough. My day and night will be filled to full light in the lives of the ummah to bring khair, goodness, deen, afiyat, everything that is needed for them. The king was thrilled and made him the representative of the king to become the next king after him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent us for a purpose. We are the kings of this ummah if only we realized and knew our value. The amal for today is Man salla fi masjidi arba'ina salatan la tafutu salatun. A person who reads in my masjid 40 salah, la tafutu salatun, he should not miss one salah in the masjid. Kutiba lahu bara'atum minan nar, then security from the fire of Jahannam is written for him. Wa bara'atum min al-adhab, and security from punishment, protection from the punishment. Wa bari'a min al-nifaq, and is secured from hypocrisy. Tabarani has mentioned this, Imam Ahmad has mentioned this, etc. So Allah give us tawfiq making amal, wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.